Hey, this is Winter with the Shift Spotlight, and today I am here with Amber Nelms. She's the CEO and founder of Triangle ABA. So, Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Winter. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to speak to you today. I was looking over your company and really impressed with everything you've built. And it really hits home with a lot of my journey as a CEO and the fact that it is kind of lonely as you're building something, right? And being able to make sure you surround yourself with other people that can continue to help you grow, I think is really essential. So thank you for answering a need that's there.
Oh, thanks. We really appreciate it. That was so nice.
It's true.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's start out with a fun fact. What is something about you that people may not know?
I have lots of fun facts about me. I lived in India for 5 years. That's an interesting
Wow.
fact about me. Um, I love well, I mean, that's probably something anybody who watches my personal page would know already about me, but I'm really into fitness and mindset training, and I'm really a big believer in the idea of training your mind, the mind that you want, and visualizing who you actually want to become, and taking the time to practice that. And I am a behavior analyst, right? Which means the science of behavior is a big piece of everything I do, which is
Right.
also something that you can see in the natural environment. That's a big part of applied behavior analysis, which one difficult part with visualization, it's a practice that's done purely in the mind.
Right.
And you cannot necessarily measure it as easily, and it seems a little harder to tangibly be able to measure, but I have seen the effects of it. So that is another interesting fact about me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that stuff. So you're all Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct. I
me
really
too.
do.
I am
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
I
that's
love all
awesome.
that. Yeah, I love all that stuff. So, okay, so at a high level, why don't you tell us what you do?
Okay. Well, I used to practice as a behavior analyst every single day, but now I am predominantly working and functioning as a CEO. But I think that's one of the unique factors about how I built the company and makes me more unique than most of the other ABA companies in the Raleigh area is that I actually have been in the position of every single area in the company as a consumer first. So I have a child on the spectrum, and so that's what made me get into the field of ABA.
Hmm.
I obviously was in the role of a parent and trying to figure that out. And then I went to work at another ABA clinic and was an RBT. And then went back to school and got my master's and became a board certified behavior analyst. And then obviously starting the practice. So I do feel like that's a huge factor to how I continually ask questions on how to build the best company. I just ask myself, what did I wish was there when I was in the process?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
now,
great
yeah,
question. That is such a
yeah,
great question. Like
yeah,
we ask that a lot. Like, what access to resources do you wish you had when you were building
yes,
your company? Because like
yes.
now you're over here, but what were you like, God, if I could just get, for
Hmm.
our listeners that don't know, what does ABA stand for?
It stands for Applied Behavior Analysis.
Okay.
And so it is a type of behavioral therapy, specifically for children on this. Well, I should say it's predominantly used for children on the spectrum. It could be
Mhm.
used in any sort of way. And honestly, a lot of the self-help business books have a ton of ABA in them. I don't know if you've ever read the book Atomic Habits.
Yes.
One of his first chapters, do you know who he talks about? B.F.
Hmm.
Skinner. B.F. Skinner is
Yeah.
one of the fathers. And so I do think, unfortunately, the field of ABA, it is this isolated little world that most people don't know about and don't realize like the power of the science behind it. And it can help in all areas of your life. If you want to change any sort of behavior, that's really how
Mhm.
you do it. So,
Gotcha.
so on a regular, circle back to your original question, what I do on a daily basis is I sit in a lot of meetings, answer a lot of emails, and continue to think through the vision that
Hmm.
I need to instill in the people that I'm leading at Triangle ABI.
So how many employees do you have?
Well, we are close to 50, which is
Wow,
crazy.
that's a lot.
I know it is a lot. We
That
started, yeah,
is,
go ahead.
no, that's a lot.
I know. So that's why I get up every single day with a fire in me to realize I continually need to develop myself as a leader to be able to lead that many people.
Yeah, yeah. And so you said the word to, really instill my vision on others. And so, like, what are the mindset or skill set or strategies you use to actually be that visionary? Because a lot of times as a CEO, we find that they're sort of stuck in it. They're running around with their hair on fire. They've got their hands in way too many things. Nobody can do it quite as good as me. This is my baby. I built this. So they often sort of, they're the bottleneck of their business, right? So, the way to grow, the way to scale, the way to get to 50 employees is you've got to get buy-in from them on your vision and how well you're doing it. So how have you done that? How have you actually been in that visionary role as opposed to like the owner operator? A lot of times we get this we buy ourselves a job. We like,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, honestly, that's something I'm so proud of and I am excited about it. One of the ways that I strategically do it, I think I can break it down into two different categories. One is in the development of myself and development of others, and specifically going out of my way and saying that needs to happen, right? And then I guess the second part is teaching others basically and reinforcing, that's a very behavior analytic word, rewarding entrepreneurism. So basically
right,
what I always say is I have a company of 50 people that have come together to do something they actually care about too. So I remind them why they do what they're doing actually matters, why it
mhm,
matters, and
mhm,
that they are getting to build it with me. That's what I always
yeah,
say to them. And then I reward the people that are the most entrepreneur in my team, basically.
right,
And so I
right,
bring them together and say, it's not like me. I say, it's us. We're doing
mhm,
this amazing work. We get to do that. So just using that language. But then it is also, like I said, is really focusing on the fact that I can't just show up and expect myself to be the same at the same state every single day. I actually have to continue to push myself, right? And I have noticed the difference of expecting that. Like I get up 5:30 a.m. every morning. I get in a cold plunge because I've read a lot of about times of people just like saying building up, like what I said, the development is building up a mindset of a person that says when tough things happen, I don't back down, right? So before I
right,
even get in the office, that's the kind of thing I'm building. I like get in that
yeah,
cold plunge. I will my body to say, get in there, go do that. Then I go for a run. Then I do make sure I meditate. And then I come into the office and then I'm specifically going out of my way to reward people that are coming to me as problem solvers, coming to me
right.
and saying, we do it together. So hopefully that gives you a synopsis of the main key points. I think development and rewarding entrepreneurism in your team, because it's not all about you anymore.
Yeah,
If you want to Anna move back from your business and basically watch it develop into this entity, it can't be all about you. It has
right.
to be about developing others and saying, we do this.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I love how you kind of empower your people to like allow them to be them in their roles.
Yeah.
We've got somebody who works with us at the shift spot, and when she comes and brings something to us, it's like I'm so excited because it's always a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
But she took the initiative to do it and she steps up, and then it gives her confidence, and then she starts bringing more and more. And then next thing you know, I'm focused on the big picture stuff now, and I don't
Yep.
need to. And if she screws something up, then I'm like, awesome. What are you going to do to fix it?
Yeah.
Whereas before, I think I would have been like, okay, all right, I'm going to get this. We'll get this done. And so now it's like, all right, cool. What are you going to do to fix it? Even though you're just like, okay, okay, okay. And then when they fix it, they have the confidence. Hey, look, I can do this again. Like I know how to
Yeah.
solve problems, right? So it's like I feel like a lot of people, a lot of owners, they want to be like you and I. They want to be the people that give that long leash. But the personality traits that end up, type A, whatever, it often, more often than not, doesn't tend to happen. So as you've sort of scaled your company, what are the challenges that you've experienced, especially with 50 staff members?
Oof. Lots of challenges. And it's actually even the challenge I'm continually looking at right now is, do I have the right people in the right seats?
Yeah, that's always the challenge.
I have also struggled with just believing people to what they say.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just tell me, oh, I'm really good at this. And so I don't think I slowed down to really test whether to see they had some of the skills that they claimed. And just because somebody writes something fancy on their resume doesn't mean they have what it takes. That is the
Yeah.
one thing I've learned. That, and you talked also about, back to that same question you asked me, how do I think I've been able to grow? One of the pieces is, don't be so traditional in your thought process that says that concept of, oh, their resume looks great, they're the
Yeah.
position that they need. My billing manager right now is phenomenal. Guess what? She did not know what that really looked like. She
Mm-hmm.
had instead the skill set, determination, doesn't give up, problem solver, detailed oriented. And I watched her for like a year and I was like, because I had hired lots of billing managers before. I
Yeah.
fired like 5 billing managers until I was like, wait a minute, stop looking at resumes, start looking at your people and what true skills do they have and what
Right.
kind of skills do you need for that job. And I want other people that to give, I want to give them raises. I want to give them chances. And that's also, I think, why I've had people with me for a very long time is the people that have shown me good work. I'm loyal to them. You're the people I want to move up in the company because you've
Mm-hmm.
shown me you have a lot of skills. So that's a big problem that I have encountered.
And that's a common problem. A lot of times the owner will say, I really liked them. They
Yeah.
we got a good vibe together, and they hire based on the feeling that they got from, as opposed to like really diving into the skill set. My partner Ken, he is a killer interviewer, and I was like, oh, I'm the best interviewer in the interviewee in the world. Like nobody can out interview me. I can get any job in the world because like I've had a long background in luxury real estate, so like I've interviewed for a living. Like all I
Yeah.
ever did was go on interviews. So he sits down one day to interview me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could never get a job with him. I married him, but I could
Really?
never get a job with him. Oh yeah, yeah, because like the way he interviews, it totally cuts through the fluff on your resume, right?
Mm.
It does not allow you to get around that fluff. And like, really, that's one of the things he teaches his clients is how to do that, because it's one of those skills, like, unless you've got experience, you wouldn't necessarily know, but it is interviewing in general, and like knowing whether they're the right fit is hard because most people go with the gut instinct. And we always say like, that's typically going to be the wrong one. Believe it or not, your gut, the one you like, is like typically the wrong one.
Well, there you go. Because that is what I had made the mistake several times. Is like I kind of hired people that I would like to be friends with, and they were
Yes.
fun,
Yes.
engaging. And when it
Yep.
really came down to it, I was like, oh, no, you don't have like the skills. You were just really
Right.
charming, and you were
Yes.
really good at saying a
Yes.
cute story, but really, ultimately, you can't show up every day to do the work that needs to happen. So,
That's right. That's right.
yep.
So as a leader and a visionary, like what keeps you up at night?
Like the things that worry me.
Yeah, with regards to your business.
Mm. Well, I think one of the pieces again is like, I would like to open another clinic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to maybe open one in Garner and serve another 50 kids. I think
Mm-hmm.
that would be amazing. The children on the spectrum really definitely need good quality services. And I know we are the best around. And because we do it from a place like we focus on quality first. So I guess what keeps me up at night is worrying about expanding and keeping that quality in mind.
Mm-hmm.
How do I keep that same community that I have in a new space? I do think I have the answer, but I'm still concerned about it. Plus, I don't want to be consumed only with financial gain to be the motivation. I want my primary motivation to be helping people. And so
Yeah.
even the thought of expanding to a new location, I want it to be driving from a place of truly making an impact for others, not like, oh, I'm a successful entrepreneur. Fucking look at me. I can have this. Sorry, I didn't mean to do
Cool. I've
that.
got 4 brothers. You're in good company.
Okay. So, like it shouldn't be oh, look at me, I can open another one. It's like, no, look at the quality that I'm going to continue to do, and that going forward is so making sure my motivations are in the right place, making sure well, there again, back to that developing others. You know what really exciting though, Winter? One of my staff members, we just had a meeting and he was going over some main department reports for me. And
Mhm.
the exciting part is some of the people he thought we should raise up to the next level, he was right on. And I was wrong on some of that. And guess what? It's
Mhm.
because I'm not on the ground as much. But guess what? I put him in that position now to really do
You
the
don't
thing.
have to be. Yeah.
That's the key. And I was seeing and I was mentoring him and giving him different books and asking him to think about these things and telling him, I need you to have your eye. And he came back and did it. So I'm like,
That's
that's
awesome.
yeah. So it made me also feel a little bit of relief knowing, yeah, if you put the people in the right seats, you can expand. So I've been
Yeah.
reading this book, Traction, too, that it really helps break down the idea. Have you heard of that book?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
EOS.
Yeah. So I've been reading through that. And so I'm up at night thinking, how am I going to read through this book and get this done and expand successfully?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I love your this is you're one of the few that, and I wouldn't say few, but like this is your passion project.
Yes.
Um, it hits home because it is home every
Yep.
single day.
Yep.
And, but you are actually, doing something for others based on your lack of being able to find it.
Mm.
And you just happen to get success out of it. And like, I love that, you're able to like put all of those pieces together, right?
Hmm.
It's a very cool, like heart, my heart's like warming right now.
Oh, thank you, Winter. I mean, that's why I don't want to lose that part. I want to make sure and I know that that's what we've done. Like a
If
lot
you
of the
look at people like Gabby Bernstein, she got big and big and big and big, and she's still helping people. Like, I don't know how she
yeah.
personally feels as a person, but you can get big and not sacrifice the things that matter. You
Yep.
just have to put that in your vision and instill it and delegate it and, have
Yep.
it trickle down everywhere else. So, we've talked a lot about what you've screwed up along the way, because that's like very easy to reach into that well when you're a CEO or a business owner because you screw up so much.
Yeah,
But what is
definitely.
something that you've done right that you look back and like maybe you intentionally did it right, or you didn't even know you did it right until you looked back?
Um, One thing I did right, it goes back to the thing that I said before about building a company in a way that says, what did you wish was there? And you can at least impact in your own company the culture that you want, is that in my field it's a lot of people, or I should say, I worked at companies where people you came in as the new person and they didn't ever speak to you. It was a very lonely thing. You're working one-on-one with a child on the spectrum, and you might be in a classroom all day, and that can be really exhausting. And in a culture, in a community that doesn't reach out to you, doesn't check in, doesn't support you, that can feel very isolating. And so when I hired people, I always used the language and terminology. I said, you're not going to be an island on your own. I'm not
Yeah.
just hiring you for you to go sit, get a paycheck. This is something we're doing together, and you're going to care for your fellow people around you. That's how you make it at this company. If you are
Yeah.
not going to look out for the people around you, you won't belong here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I clearly said that over and over ago, over and over again in interviews. And that's what happened. I literally just went out last night with my staff at the Raleigh Beer Garden to go for a trivia night. And guess what? We have bi-monthly kind of activities that Triangle ABA pays for, but that
Right.
one is one, it's just organized in the idea of like my main events coordinator will tell the people about an activity, and the people that want to hang out together hang out together. And
Right.
that is built from a culture of people that over time get reinforced and rewarded for supporting one another. So that's something I think I did well. Focused again on the quality of services for the client, not about the money. Focus first. And that are the two things I think that I've succeeded in. And realizing you can answer 100 emails a day, do 1 million tasks a day, but if you are not pouring into you, if you're not
Yeah.
spending the time developing you, you will burn out, you will
Yeah.
lose. And if you cannot continue to flourish, how do you expect to keep a flourishing business? So taking the time and emphasis on that part and organizing your schedule to make that happen is a priority.
And it does. I mean, I'm in it right now. It's like, so Ken and I got married in September,
Oh,
and
congratulations.
so he's my business partner in business and in life. And then, we just kind of like had a lot of fun leading up to the wedding. And then the honeymoon, we were gone in Portugal for 2 weeks. And so we would just sort of like eat whatever we want. You're on honeymoon. It's like lunch, drinking, blah, blah, blah. And like when we got back, we realized like it's time to take care of us again, right? We got to like get back on
Mm-hmm.
track so that we can be the best that we are. And with all that we have to do throughout the day, that does require getting up early. So you got to get up early and you've got to make that time for yourself and you've got to allocate whatever, or it means stopping early or whatever it is. And it's a non-negotiable for us because we're always going to be our best if we, get that thing done for ourselves. And I think that's where like so many CEOs and business owners, they just get off track, just pushing through and pushing through and pushing through. But sometimes less can truly be more.
Yeah.
Sometimes like sitting back and relaxing, it'll come a lot easier than forcing through it. So okay, so you are mentioning growth and potentially expanding. So where would you feel that you would need support in order to do that? Like if you as the CEO could be supported, what would be the
The
thing you would
areas
like to
that
see happen? Yeah. So that you could go do the thing, whatever the thing is.
I do think I would like a little bit more coaching in regards to, is expanding to several new locations the best method, or is a licensing or franchising
Yeah.
be more productive use of time, energy, focus? Would that,
Yep.
and I've never done that. It's just, that's how a CEO,
That's
or
a
and
that's a
I
very good one. Yeah.
yeah, and just because a bunch of other companies do it that way, I never do what most other people do,
Me
and I'm
neither.
proud
Me neither.
and I'm
I'm
proud of it.
always like the total opposite.
Yeah, and so if everyone's walking one path, I'm like, that's where everyone else is going. So
Yeah.
I think that's the piece I would need to analyze. I'm having somebody kind of work on looking through all the financials and seeing like, okay, if you open new center, what would you need to do and how much would that cost you? So I'm having that wisdom part done, but I still want to have somebody ask me more questions, really the right type of questions, so I can pinpoint actually what would make the biggest impact. And honestly, what I love doing is working with other entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
I like that's what I said. That's how I built this company in a lot of ways, is by instilling that entrepreneurism throughout the people that I work with. Why not do that through a licensing or franchising business too? So that's also something that comes in my mind, because that's the best part about being an entrepreneur, is that you get to drive your success forward. It's
Right.
scary as hell
Yeah.
that you're alone a lot of times, and like if you fail, you really fail. There's no one to
Yeah.
pick you up. But at the
That's right.
same time, there's something so freeing about it. So the thought of being able to help others on that journey and inspire them to do that through creating a system to be able to do it that way.
Right.
And since I know what it looks like to run a successful ABA company, then I could see the benefit. And I get calls all the time to get bought out, but I'm going to get bought out by somebody that doesn't care about it as a clinician. And so I would want
Yeah.
to help other clinicians like me, other
Mhm.
people or other parents. That would be my criteria. To have to be a clinician or a parent, because I don't want to create the monster that's happening across the US of bad quality ABA.
Right, right, right. I love your commitment to your mission and
Thank you.
not letting the dollar signs distract you. I think that's like I really respect that because a dollar is a dollar is a dollar, but like your passion and your meaning, I got a little teary eyed with it because just I can see how much you like love what you do, and I just think that's
Thank
really great.
you. Thank you. And you're,
Um, one of my really good friends' children are on the spectrum, and they do need help. I mean,
yes,
she is very taken care of financially in terms of like she's able to stay home with her son and all of
that's
that,
great.
but I mean, I when I come visit and hang out and see what you go through and like how hard it is, it's like, I just sit there and all like, wow, how do you do this? Because
Yeah.
it's just, you're on all of the time. I mean, you're on all of the time. So,
Yeah, and for
um,
myself, my kid doesn't have any issues really now. I
that's
don't have to,
great.
and see, I promised myself if he got to that point, he basically is. He's self-sufficient, independent. I don't have to worry. I knew I wanted to give back in that way. I was like,
Yeah.
how do I make this possible? And my saddest point is that people take advantage of families that are in such a desperate state and they give them watered down services. And it really, really angers me to
That
think
sucks.
that it does suck. People are turning it into something where let's just turn it around and do a thing where it's like, no, let's do this really well. Let's support them as well as we and with the best quality so that they hopefully can be like my kid and just go off and go to private school and like live an awesome life and not have to be in intensive services their whole life. And
Right.
not everybody, even kids that get high quality can be like that. I feel like mine's a story that doesn't happen every single time. But if nothing else, they shouldn't be given watered down bad services that when families are desperate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so if you could do it all over again, speaking to your younger self or a less experienced self, what would your advice be to you now that you've sort of gone through it in terms of how to build a business or do something right when building your business? Like if you could just go back to your younger self.
Um, this is gonna probably seem a little bit strange, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I would have said be more confident in yourself, Amber.
Yeah.
I would have
I
said,
think that's a good one though. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
confidence
and
is hugely important. And
yeah,
and it's like you don't have to do everything right. I remember when I first got started into real estate, I did not know what I was doing, but I was so sure I was going to make it. And I was so hungry, literally and physically. And so like people would ask me things that I didn't know the answers to. And I would be like, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to get right back to you. And it's like, I was just so confident in saying, I don't know.
mm-hmm.
that it didn't matter that I didn't know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've always been like really good at like faking it until you make it kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I just find that like you will learn these things along the way and everything will sort of fall into place. But like to have confidence in yourself and to have confident, like exude confidence to your prospective clients, whoever they may be, it's a really important aspect of, people do business with people they like, yes, but more importantly, people do business with people they feel confident about. And if
Mm-hmm.
have that, it translates into so many different avenues.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the younger self I would have said, spend time also just really being alone and being happy with who you are. And if you can do that and really be confident in those pieces when you stand in front of people that have been doing it much longer, you you have this calm peace and trust in like, no, I know who I am and what I bring to the table. I know who I've developed myself to be. And then, I mean, because I have hard questions or, families that say really intense stuff to me sometimes on the phone or staff members that need something that can feel overwhelming at the time. But if you haven't spent the time really developing that calm confidence, you're going to be pushed over very easily. And
I like
so
that.
I would have urged myself to spend that time really developing it sooner because it would have helped me be able to stay very strong in the storm, which obviously I stayed strong. I made it to
Yeah.
this point, but there were some times where I felt like I was just getting pushed around. And if I had learned that faster, that would have been helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's next for you? What's 2024 going to be all about?
Well, I am planning on really developing my own personal brand, honestly, is maybe starting a podcast myself. Um, I mean, I'm debating whether that's the right choice or not. I just like learning. I just want to
Mhm.
continue to want to learn and grow, and I can see the thought process. I don't even know if that was one of your thought processes, Winter, in doing a podcast, but like, you get to meet other high level performers,
Yes.
hear what they have learned, pick up on patterns. That's another
Yep.
key factor about entrepreneurs. Successful entrepreneurs tend to be pattern, they recognize patterns and
Yep.
focus on that. And so that's one benefit I could see in doing a podcast, is that you continue to start seeing patterns of those
Yes.
being the pieces that you need to continue to develop in yourself. And that's what makes me come alive. It's just growing and
Hmm.
challenge and learning. And so
Yeah.
that is one thing I'm planning on, continuing to develop more of that entrepreneur support, and however that looks, maybe because I also do have a nonprofit company, so I have thoughts in regards to being able to support that by
Hmm.
also leaning on, okay, with entrepreneur like support, if you buy a ticket to come with me on a trip, then it helps support the nonprofit that I'm working to build. So that's in 2024. Open another clinic, like I said, um, and be able to hopefully do speaking engagements. I spend at least 4 days out of the week working on some sort of speech that I give and put on my personal Instagram.
Nice.
Because yeah, because like,
Wow.
why
You're
not?
devoted.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, I mean it
If
doesn't
you've got the
matter.
time, for sure.
Well, I mean, it's not like a long speech, it's like 1 minute, but
Yeah.
it's more of the idea of, I know what I want, and everything that I have read and understood about how to get there, it's not from some sort of lucky break. Sometimes it is, but it's also just about the consistency of doing it. And if I want to build the skill, then it doesn't matter if I have a large audience or not. It's just a
It's right.
matter of
It's right.
showing up every day to do
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, the plan is hopefully to get paid to do speaking someday too,
That's
right?
fun. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you'd be a very engaging speaker.
Thank you. That's very encouraging. And you have done a really good job being very encouraging. And I really appreciate you taking the time to note those things. A lot of times I've been on some podcasts before, and you could tell the person leading it is not really engaged. And I really appreciate that, Winter, you taking the
Yeah.
time to do that and to note the things that can be an encouragement.
Yeah. My pleasure. All right. So, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, learn more about what you do, potentially one day get involved in your franchise, maybe, what would be the best way that people could get a hold of you? Is it triangleaba.com?
That's correct. You can go on the website, or you can email me at amber@triangleaba.com.
All right. Well, this podcast was extra special to me. I feel like we're like
Oh,
soul sisters in a way.
nice.
So thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Winter, for having me.